Beautiful, isn't it? Doesn't even seem like we're in Georgia. I'm Joseph Kaler. Behind the camera is James Romeo for another episode of Road Trip Story on roadtripstory.com, and we're here at Providence Canyon. This episode, we're kind of going to let the images speak for themselves. Such a beautiful place. We'll be your guide, and we'll give you kind of some insight, some tips, and know-how of just really one of the most marvelous places, in my opinion, of the southeastern United States. For any state or national park, or for any point of interest for that matter that you go to, I always can't stress this enough. Go to your visitor center first to really get the best information to make your trip really the best that it can be. Now, unfortunately, the visitor center, since we've arrived here in January, is closed, but very fortunately in a sense that this was closed almost permanently due to state budget cuts in Georgia. But thanks to some really good people that they've reopened this, albeit seasonally. But more so of anything that no matter what time of year, always plan ahead with these trips, even if it's just nearby down the road. Not only can you get maps online, other websites, really the friend of whatever park that you go to can really get you on your way just in case you encounter something like this and then close down visitor center for the season. Just so many colors, so many layers. Just hard to really take in with a camera, let alone the human eye. Simply gorgeous. So, how did Providence Canyon get its name? Give you one clue. It's here, the church. A lot of southern towns, a lot of historical areas you'll see, Civil War battlefields, for example, Shiloh is a really good example of this, were named after nearby churches, and Providence Canyon was no exception. Now, unfortunately, with this church, it had the dubious distinction of being moved several times because of the erosion of the canyon itself throughout the years. Because remember, the canyon doesn't get deeper, it goes wider with erosion. So it's been consequently each time that it's been eroding really bad, really within, I'd say, the last 100 years, so much that they've had to move this church more than one time, hence the name of the canyon. And another interesting thing to note that the graveyard over here, some of the graves it's been said has been moved, and rumor was that you could see at certain times where it's been eroded so bad that you could see bones actually sticking out of the side of the canyon wall itself. Hi, Mr. Romeo. I think we found the problem here. There's a tree in your engine block. But in all seriousness, we're here on the rim trail that is along the rim of the canyon itself. And this is one of the most unique features, I think, in any park that I've ever visited, which is a car graveyard. This used to be part of a homestead. And so to prevent really just any further damage to the ecosystem, the state, I think in a kind of a cool way, decided to just leave the cars as is and just kind of leave them here as a kind of nice poignant reminder of who once really owned this canyon area. Well, one cool thing I like about nature really reclaiming kind of its own ecosystem again is you get to see this sort of decay of automobiles, be it in this form here of, I think, what apparently was a truck. So even if you're not into that, always remember one thing: Mo loves Jamie. One little piece of advice that we hardly discuss but should never be overlooked is signage. Whenever you're on a trail, whenever you're hiking, whether it's here at Providence Canyon or any park you ever go to, there's certain features of the park, geologic in this case, natural features that shouldn't be overlooked. For example, falling rocks, or in this case, this is a canyon that's very fragile, prone to a lot of erosion. So like it says here, stay on the trail, read the signage. If something's blocked, don't go there. So always an important thing to remember. Behind the visitor center, there is a trail, and that trail will bring you to here, the canyon floor. Canyon floor is very important because it is the centerpiece, I believe, of Providence Canyon State Park. If you've arrived this far, you'll notice that you've got a lot of options for hiking, and that's important because in this park there are 16 canyons, and this trail here where we're standing will lead you to 9 of those 16 canyons, as well as the backcountry trail, the Red Blaze, as well as the White Blaze trail, which will lead you to the canyon rim. So very important part here of the park. And since the backcountry area, which is behind us, you can also go camping there. And really a lot of recreational activities can be had here at Providence Canyon State Park. Not really just here, but just throughout the rim, throughout the park itself. But to me, really the day, the canyon, the adventure starts here at the canyon floor. One thing that they really don't tell you about Providence Canyon is when you get to the base, you have a little trickle here of a creek. So with that being said, we recommend wearing very good waterproof shoes and an extra pair of socks if you can, because any time of the year, you're gonna have this water runoff going on. And where we're hiking through right now, not only just the water, but this is the backcountry trail, also known as the Red Blaze Trail. It's about 7 miles long. And one other thing that I wanted you guys to note about Providence Canyon, a lot of people don't talk about, unfortunately this is the wrong time of season to see it, though, is the rare endangered species plumleaf azalea. And it only grows wild in very small certain parts of the United States, including here. Geologically speaking, Providence Canyon really gives you a plethora of views, not just from the top layer, which you'll see, which is just the old Georgia red clay, but also the middle portion, which I think it's most famous for, which is the Providence Formation. And they found fossils here in this area, as well as just some really unique rocks, minerals, just flowing right through the rock itself through different veins. So again, geologically speaking, very interesting place. This is one of my favorite places of the canyon. Tucked away in canyon number 4 is this little kind of crevice area. It's not a cave or anything like that, but it was just made due to erosion. And I think it's just really one of the most coolest places that I've ever really seen in this park. What you see behind me and around me is kudzu. This was planted in the 1930s, way before this became a state park in 1971. This was planted by the Civilian Conservation Corps, also known as the CCC. And really, I think is their lasting legacy to the state park system, not just here, but really throughout Georgia itself, and really the United States, just for trying to do things like this, erosion control, taking back the land, just a lot of reclamation projects, I think that were really needed at the time. Providence Canyon is a very fragile ecosystem, very susceptible to rain and to the human hand. Now, the reason why Providence Canyon is here, this wasn't natural. That's what makes this place really unique. And it was built inadvertently by poor farming practices. Farmers back in really the early 1800s didn't really do very well soil erosion techniques, really preventative measures. So by 1850, you could see about a 3 to 5 foot trough where we are now. And some of these areas are about 150 foot deep. So as beautiful as this is, just remember, this was all made by the hand of man. You know, if you stare at this long enough, the colors and the shapes, you start to see forms and figures. So beautiful. Another man-made legacy that you'll see at Providence Canyon is, I think, a rather unfortunate one, which is this, vandalism. People can call it leaving their mark, whatever you want to call it. I think it's unwanted, it's unnecessary, and if you really want to leave your mark at this place, you take pictures and leave nothing but footprints, stay on the trails, obey the signs like we said, so people like you and I, and our kids and our grandkids, and even beyond, can enjoy great places like this to enjoy for a very long time to come. Now, it's unfortunate that you can't see really what we're seeing through our own eyes, just the vistas, the colors that really can't be achieved or captured by a camera or on film and on this YouTube video. But what I will say, though, is if you're ever here in the southern United States, particularly just a little bit south of Columbus, Georgia, you're going to see one of the most magnificent and amazing places here at Providence Canyon State Park, one of the 7 natural wonders of Georgia. Now, for this episode, we're going to wrap it up, but before we do, I just want to say that thanks for watching us, and if you can, please subscribe to our channel, like it, and just tell your friends about us. So we'd love to hear from you and your feedback. So for Road Trip Story, this has been Joseph Kaler. Behind the camera is James Romeo. We'll see you later. Definitely take the time just to kind of see our road trip story. Maybe this will inspire you to kind of see what really makes this place so beautiful. And I really can't put into words just how diverse, how large, how epic Cumberland Island really is. So National Park's done a really good job of really preserving it, taking care of it.